This is not going to really fall in line as a clip, but it's going to kind of go through the inauguration day in some various pieces. There's really no way to not redo do this. We did the full show that we have, things you might have heard, and it was a little choppy, so we're going to do this, and it's not going to be succinct. I figured instead of doing all these clips that we did, or essentially all inauguration news, let's do one big one that's sort of is a better read, if you will. So follow along with me, if you will. So this is the inauguration day in a glance. From yesterday, being the 20th of January, 2025, the inauguration, the actual physical installment of President 47, formerly 45, Donald J. Trump. And it started off, as you expect, a day where Biden signed a bunch of pardons to the January 6th committee, and of course, pardoned his whole. I guess he signed that pardon the day before, on the 19th, and then on the 20th, he signed a pardon for all of his family. Literally, the Biden crime family got their pardons all before he stepped off to his plane to go off to wherever. So that happened. That did happen. We will get back to that, although nobody's really talking about that, and that's why we'll get back to that towards the end of the stories we're covering. And what else happened? John Fetterman happened. It was a regular day of work for Congress, actually, because they had to go vote and do things. They actually confirmed Marco Rubio for his spot as Secretary of State, so they got some work done. Unanimous decision, 99-0. No one voted against Marco Rubio, so that was great. But since they had to do a little, offsite beforehand anyway, Fetterman didn't decide that, he's like, he wouldn't change his work clothes. So he went to the inauguration that was now held indoors because of the bitter cold and the conditions, in his shorts, in his hoodie, in his sneakers. You can see behind him, Angus King, all of us behind us, doom scrolling because he's bored and wants to do something else. But right there in the front row, although in the back of the procession, is our man Fetterman doing Fetterman things, because he is. Oh, that wasn't the only sort of gaffe going forward. Let's keep going. Now, the oath of office was performed as normal for both J.D. Vance, now our vice president, and Donald J. Trump, now our president again. But here's the snafu that had people scratching their heads and wondering, can we, do this? This is fair? Donald Trump's wife, I should say, Melania, standing there in their big old hat, and Barron Trump standing there next to him. Melania held two Bibles. The Lincoln Bible, a traditional Bible held, and a family Bible from the Trump family. And Donald Trump put his hand on neither. He just raised his hand. He said, raise your hand and do your thing. I guess the words "put your hand on the Bible" wasn't there. Or he just decided, I'm going to leave my hand down here, a little tired. And he did the oath of office. He is our president. He is 47. It's in the books. Just because he didn't put his hand on the Bible, as many scholars went to go flipping through books to see if this was a problem, it's not. It's symbolic. It's showing that you have a deference to the higher power that is God. And in all cases so far, everyone who has been our president, their higher power has been God. Vivek Ramaswamy is not a Christian, so that would have been an interesting take on that end. But everyone who has been our president and who's been in most high offices, except for there have been some senators and some representatives who are of Muslim descent or Indian descent, of things that have sworn on whatever their biblical text is, religious text is. But Trump didn't do it. I don't know if this is the first of a sign of things that just ain't going to be done, or just a gaffe, snafu, but it happened. It was noticed. Also noticed the beautiful, lovely singing voice of Carrie Underwood, because she had to do it a cappella. Now, we believe that because of the weather, because of the space, they could not get the actual accompanying chorus into the building with us. So they had on a track. They pre-recorded it, so it'll be there. The music was probably pre-recorded anyway. They probably weren't going to have the live band. They were going to have the pre-recorded track to sing along with anyway. And so the time came for Carrie Underwood to perform for the room. And she stood there. She had the mic in hand, and she waited for the music to hit. And it didn't hit. And she waited again. And it didn't hit. And then all of a sudden something played, and then it stopped within 3 seconds. And then she looked around, and she stood there, and she was resolute. She was kind of there. Then a producer, dude with a headset, just walked by and said, and she's like, okay, y'all, let's sing this together. And they sung a verse of America the Beautiful together. Noticeably, a part of that verse were the vice president, now former vice president at that point, and the former president, that being Harris and Biden, standing behind her because she was on their side, singing along with the rest in the room. It was a great moment. It was a lovely moment. It was a beautiful moment. And then it wasn't American Carnage, but it was damn sure close, as we got our inauguration address, which was an address. It was a speech. It was a speech given by Donald Trump, and it was basically saying that everything Biden did in 4 years was terrible. I'm going to redo it, undo it, and do more things. That was the theme. It was not American carnage. It was not, everything is terrible, but it was everything is pretty bad because of Biden, with Biden standing there next to him to listen to him being told everything was bad and how he was going to fix it. Everything's going to fix. Liberation Day it was. We're liberating America from the and a revolution of common sense being put out there from all the bad stuff that Biden did. Reversing many policies, which you'll do later on with a signing of executive order, about 78 different policies in one order undone because of executive orders, focusing on energy production, immigration, and federal diversity initiatives. Some DEI and stuff there as well. And beefing up national security and the economy, basically, once again, tossing off his beef with Canada and Mexico that don't really exist, but about border stuff and things like that, and drug carnets and things like that. Basically saying he's going to declare the Mexican drug cartels terrorist organizations, which apparently he can do, but that also brings a question, can he send out SEAL Team 6 to shoot cartel members? A question that will have to be answered later on. National emergency for the southern border because it's a mess. I've had comments from people in my various things saying, it's not that bad. It's bad, but it's not as terrible as he's making it sound, and it's basically he's making it into a political piece, which other people who want to make it a political piece say, oh yeah, it's bad. It's very bad. Did I say DEI already? Yeah, DEI is going to go away. Plus, enforcing binary gender identities, that's not happening. Shifting from social policy direction. All the nice things we're doing to people who say they're assigned something wrong at birth is not going to happen. This is something that, your mileage will vary. Oh, he also withdrew from the Paris Climate Agreement and the World Health Organization, and just sort of rewriting history and pulling us out of all sorts of things on day one, causing lots of confusion late in the middle of the night and today as people don't know how to act, including the fact that he killed an app that had people who were trying to come through the southern border to set aside their appointments for asylum immediately so they'd have an appointment when they showed up, and killed it and making them stay in Mexico so they don't have appointments. And people who had appointments, they gone. What happens to people who are going to see those appointments? They're probably gone, literally fired too. America First is the agenda piece that we have here, and it's definitely America First or Trump America First in the thought process there. Oh, a whole lot of other things happened. There was a parade inside of the basketball stadium where the Wizards play, where they had the Mississippi Valley Marching Band, all of them sort of doing a makeshift sort of just walking by because they perform on football fields. They perform in streets. They couldn't all fit there. They had to cut some of the people from the ceremony. Time, space, whatever. Although time should have been an issue because Trump ran late with everything else. He spoke in front of Congress in an impromptu thing. I mean, so because he gave his address, then he started doing his impromptu thing, which is more like Trump and sounding more like Trump. And every place he went, he talked. It went long. He talked. It went long. He talked. It went long. He finally got to the parade and he talked. It went long. And then people went past him to the parade and it happened. Then he went back to then he went to the side of the parade. I don't have that picture, and signed some things there, right there. And then he went back to the Oval Office. That's where he signed the big one. And the big one, not because it's necessarily the biggest one that was happened. There's a whole lot of things happening. But so many things happened yesterday that we're not talking about because of this one here. In the signing of a document with a Sharpie and maybe 2 or 3 others to kind of seal the deal on that one to make sure everyone's covered, Donald Trump pardoned over 1,500 people. All people involved in the January 6th Capitol attack are freed, apparently. There are all the people who are still waiting for prosecution. That's been canceled. They can't push it going forward. 14 people had their sentences commuted, so they still have sentences on the book as they did something, but they're free to move along their lives and go forward. And 1,500 people, or plus 1,500 people, actually got full pardons. That means everything is expunged. Everything's gone. It's like it never happened. This also includes Enrique Tarrano, who is the former leader of the Proud Boys, and Stuart Rhodes, the founder of the Oath Keepers. Those guys got pardons for having a picnic on January 6th 4 years ago. And because of that, we're not talking about the fact that Joe Biden pardoned the January 6th committee folks. We're not talking about the fact that he pardoned all his family. We're not talking about the commutations of the death penalty folks where those two people say they didn't want it. We'll see what happens. Ironically, the people who got their pardons for the January 6th committee, they can say no. they can not have it, because it also opens them up not for liability for those actions, but it means they can't compel themselves not to testify in other things, which can open them up to other things. It gets really complicated. Big day, very big day, huge day for DJT. So what do you think about the first day of the rest of our lives going forward, at least the rest of the 47th administration? You will hear my comments, my direct comments going forward. You may have heard my tone where I'm going with this one, and you can take that because I have my opinions on this. If you agree with Donald Trump or you're a fan of Trump, that's great. We hope for the best. We pray for him. As Dave Chappelle said on Saturday Night Live, we're pulling for you. Please do better next time because we need you to do better. My opinion, not doing better off the bat. But we'll have 4 years to talk about that one and the continuation on who takes over the MAGA wing of things going forward. In the meantime, I need your comments, need your concerns. If you hate what I said, go for it. Just try to be cordial. Try to be coherent. Don't just spout MAGA, MAGA, MAGA 2024 forever, because that's troll stuff. That's not contributing to the conversation. This is a conversation. This is not a monologue. This is not me going off on something because I can, although I could have, and I guess I did. These are stories that you guys engaged in, bits and pieces of the day that you guys engaged in to give us a narrative going forward. In fact, it may be a better narrative than I did for the actual things you might have heard today, as sobering as that sounds, because I tried to have to intersperse things like the national championship and the winter storm that's coming through the South and some other things. Also, Vivek Ramaswamy is not coming to work for Donald Trump. He's not working for Doge. He's going to run for governor in 2 years. We'll see how that plays out as well. But on a day, an historic day for so many reasons and so many things that happened, including Donald Trump jamming with the Village People, there are a lot of questions, and many answers that we cannot find out, but we will find out going forward. Is it a find out what happens, or is it a find out type of things? I guess we will all have to get wait and see, but I want your comments, especially if you got this far and watched the whole video, because this is a lot of heavy things going on. There's some heavy things happening. This is a serious matter. Donald Trump's presidency is going to be something we have to kind of take not with grains of salt, but with actual serious tenors and tone of what's happening, and listen to every word he says and every action he does and how it works out. They affect us all. I would say mostly for the not kind as opposed to the kind, but he was elected a president. Many people are going to use this platform, their platforms, to kind of denounce him and say he's not worthy of it. He has the job. We have to back him. We have no choice. So let's hope for the best. Let's plan for some things that aren't the best, and be ready for a whole lot of fun, because guess what? Team Content is going to win in the next 4 years.